Hello and welcome. Today we will discuss about the continuous distribution of charge. Last time we have discussed about uh, how to find out the net force on the given charge whenever there are a number of charges which are placed in a discrete manner. The number of charges are of definite value. So for that we have used the method of superposition principle, according to which whenever there is discrete distribution of charges, means in any arbitrary manner, whenever charges are distributed in any arbitrary manner or random manner, then at a given point the net force due to all those charges is given by the sum of the forces exerted by the individual charges on the charge placed at that point where we are willing to find out the net force. So first, the force due to first charge, force due to the second charge, force due to third charge, we add all of them in order to find out the net force. That is the principle of superposition. But that is applicable only whenever we have definite amount of charge which is distributed in a discrete manner or in a random manner. But whenever charge is of very large quantity, for example, the charge that is distributed in any dimension, for example, over a wire of some particular length, then that charge is of very large quantity in comparison to the charge on single proton or single electron. So, in that particular case, the quantization of charge does not work properly, right? So in that case, we cannot use the principle of superposition, and hence we cannot find out the force by using the summation method. So for that particular situation, which particular situation? In which there is a large amount of charge distributed over a particular dimension. This dimension may be a line, this dimension may be a surface, or this dimension may be a volume. So there are three kinds, or we can say three ways in which charge may have been distributed continuously. Here we are taking the charges to be distributed continuously. We will discuss what is the continuous word mean here. So what are the three manners in which charge can be distributed continuously whenever charge is of very large quantity? First one is the linear continuous charge distribution. Focus on this word, linear. In this case, charge is distributed over a line of particular length. So in this case, we take to find out the net force on the given point or given charge, we make use of this concept of linear continuous charge distribution. And for that, we don't make use of summation, but we make use of the method of integration. Second way in which the charge may be distributed, it is the surface continuous charge distribution, where a large amount of charge is distributed continuously over a surface. This is called as the surface charge distribution, surface continuous charge distribution. Third manner in which charge may have been distributed is the volume continuous charge distribution. Whenever the charge, a large amount of charge is distributed all over the volume of the body or an object of some finite dimensions, then we call it to be the volume continuous charge distribution, and we make the method of this one to find out the net force due to that charge. So we will take one by one all these three and try to understand how to write, or we can say derive, the expression for the electrostatic force or Coulomb force due to such a kind of cases. So we will start with the first one, which is linear continuous charge distribution. So what is linear continuous charge distribution? It is the distribution of charge continuously over a length of the wire, or simply a length. This length, it may be a straight or in any arbitrary manner, but it is a length over which charge is distributed. So it may be a straight line wire, or it may be any twisted wire or curved wire, or it may be a wire in the form of circle or it may be a wire in the form of triangle, or it may be a wire in the form of a square, rectangle, or any kind of shape. It must be a length over which the charge is distributed. So for simple case, we are using the first case. So suppose that charge is distributed over a wire whose length is L. So length over which the charge is distributed continuously is the L here, and the amount of charge which is distributed over this length, let it be of positive kind, and the quantity is Q. Then here, for the calculation of the electrostatic force due to all this charge distributed over length L, we make the method of integration, and for that we need to define a very important quantity which is called as linear charge density. So linear charge density. So whenever we define linear charge density, we need not to know the amount of charge or the length over which length it is distributed. We only need to understand or know what is the density of the charge over the length, which is called as linear charge density. So how we define it? It is very simply, it is represented by lambda. Here it is represented by lambda. It is defined as the charge distributed over 1 unit length of the conductor or wire, or simply per unit length. Total charge distributed divided by total length. This becomes the charge per unit length. This charge per unit length is given the name linear charge density. You may recall the density, mass per unit volume, mass in unit volume. So is the case here. It is the linear charge density. It is called as the charge per unit length, the charge over 1 unit length of the given length. So this is linear charge density. And what about units of linear charge density? Here it is charge, the units are coulomb divided by length, the units are meter. So the units for linear charge density becomes coulomb per meter, as simple. Now as I have already discussed, this length may be in any particular or any arbitrary shape. For example, if this length, or we can say the length over which the wire is, charge is distributed is in the form of a circle with center O and radius R. Suppose that the charge Q is distributed over this circle whose radius is R. In that case, total charge is Q, and over what length it is distributed? Over the length which is given by the circumference of this circle, which is 2 pi r. So in that particular example, this is the example of a particular case. So in that case, linear charge density we can write as total charge distributed over total length over which the charge is distributed, which is in this particular case is 2 pi r. Because the length over which this charge is distributed is 2 pi r, where r is the radius of this circle. Similarly, it may be in the form of a square or a rectangle. You can simply use the same definition to find out the linear charge density. Okay, so by using the linear charge density, how do we find the electrostatic force due to the linear continuous charge distribution on a given point? So suppose that we have this length due to which we are willing to find out the electrostatic force at point A, where we are placing some test charge Q0. So we are willing to find out the strength of electrostatic force due to all this charge which is distributed over length L at this point A, where we are placing some test charge Q0, right? So for doing that, we are choosing some coordinate system, just like this. Here is the coordinate system we are making use of. This is the origin. Okay, so I am not indicating length here. It is understood. So, in order to find out the electrostatic force, what we do? We make the use of method of integration because charge distribution is continuous and not discrete. So, for that, we are taking only some elementary portion of this total length. This elementary length is of very small, infinitesimally small dimension dl, for example. This length is very small. So, in first case, we find the force due to this small length element on the given point A, and then we make the use of method of integration to find out the force due to all this charge at the point A. Okay. So for doing that, we are defining a position vector of point A. Let it be r, and the position vector of this very small length element as r dash. Suppose you may take it as r1 or r2. I am taking it as r, the position vector of charge, test charge q0, and r dash as the position vector of charge which is distributed over length element dl. Right? Suppose we are placing a positive charge, test charge here. So the force due to this charge distributed over this length element dl, charge distributed over this length element dl, it exerts a repulsive force on the positive test charge q0, which is directed away from this charge. So it is F, for example. So due to this small length element, let the force is dF. Because length element is small, so force will be small. Because charge over small length will be small. Okay. So first we have to find out what is the charge on this length element dl. Because we know that the linear charge density, the density of charge over this length is q upon L. That means 1 unit length carries this much amount of charge, which we call as the linear charge density. Therefore, the small charge dq, which we can write as dq, which is distributed over length dl, can be written as the charge over 1 unit length, which is lambda, into total length we are having. On what length we are willing to find out the charge? dl. So simply dl. So this is the charge over this length, and this charge is exerting some force dF on the positive test charge q0 placed at point A. So therefore we can write the expression for dF, the small force, is equal to as 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught into this q0, the product of the two charges according to the Coulomb's law, out of which one charge is q0 into other one is dq, upon this will be r minus r dash, its magnitude power 3 into r minus r dash vector. We are writing it into the vector form as we did in our earlier class. So this is the small force due to small length element dl. If we are willing to find out the total force, then we have to make the use of method of integration. Before that, I am just writing the value of dq from here, which is lambda dl. So df, we can write it as 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught into q naught into dq, which is lambda dl, upon r minus r dash mod power 3 r minus r dash vector. So therefore force due to charge Q. This is the total charge Q which is distributed over length L. Over length L is, this is the total force F. This is equal to, we use the method of integration. So integration over whole length of the conductor, yeah, whole length over which this charge is distributed, of 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught into Q naught into lambda dl upon r minus r dash power 3 into r vector minus r dash vector. You may use the unit vector here. In that case, it becomes square here. So this is the expression for the total force due to the linear continuous charge distribution of length L. You can take this Q naught upon 4 pi epsilon naught outside, and also the lambda, which is the constant, because charge distribution is uniform, we can say continuous. So you can just take this Q naught and 4 pi epsilon naught as well as lambda out of the sign of integration. So you can write it as Q naught upon 4 pi epsilon naught into lambda into integration of this. So in this way, it depends upon what kind of shape of the conductor we are having, over which the charge Q is distributed. In the similar way, we can define or we can find out the force due to the second kind of charge distribution, that is the surface continuous charge distribution. Let me take that case. We follow the same steps. There must be no confusion in that. So here we are having the second case of surface continuous charge distribution, in which charge is distributed continuously over a surface. Right? Suppose that we have any arbitrary shape of surface. It may be some specific shape, just like sphere or a plate, some kind of a disc or any other shape. I am taking this arbitrary shape over which some positive charge is distributed of amount Q. This charge Q of amount Q is distributed all over the surface uniformly. Because charge is distributed uniformly, that's why we are defining the charge density. In first case we have defined linear charge density. Now we need to define the surface charge density. Suppose that this total surface is S. The surface area of this surface is S unit square, meter square in SI system, over which some charge Q, capital Q is distributed uniformly. So in that case, how do we define or how do we find the force due to this total charge distributed over surface continuously at any point A where we are placing some test charge Q naught? It may be positive charge Q naught. So for doing that, we have to define the surface charge density. So what is surface charge density? We define the surface charge density in the similar manner as we have defined the linear charge density. So for symbol, we make use of sigma to write the expression for the surface charge density. It is defined as the charge distributed over 1 unit length of the surface. 1 unit surface area of the surface. My pardon. So it is surface charge density is defined as the total charge which is distributed over the surface per unit, the total per unit surface area. So for total surface area, I am using symbol S. So per unit surface area, it will have the charge Q upon S. Units, if we are talking about units, in the numerator it is charge whose units are coulomb, and in the denominator we are having the surface area whose units are meter square. So coulomb per meter square. This surface may be in the form of a circle, or it may be in the form of a square or rectangle or in any other shape. We simply have to take that surface area, right? If this is a circle, then surface charge density we can write it as total charge distributed over the total surface divided by total surface area of a circle is pi r square. So that is the way we make use of surface charge density. So if we have this surface whose surface area is capital S over which some charge capital Q is distributed uniformly, we are willing to find out the electrostatic force due to all these charge distributed at point A, where we are placing some test charge, plus Q naught, whose position vector is R, as we have taken earlier. Then we make the use of method of integration, in which we take a small elementary portion of this surface. Let this surface area is ds, whose position vector according to the same coordinate system is r dash. So this surface having some charge. So how much charge this surface will have? Let me take it as dq. So how we write the charge dq over the surface ds? This as the charge distributed over 1 unit length, which is sigma, into the total surface area we are having, which is ds. So this becomes the charge over this surface element of the total surface area. So this small charge over this small surface area ds will exert some force on this test charge, which we can indicate as dF. So therefore we can write the expression for the dF according to the Coulomb's law. So therefore dF, the force due to the small charge dq taken over the elementary surface area, it is given by 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught into q naught, the product of the charges, out of which one charge is q naught, other one is dq, which is distributed over small surface area ds. So it is dq divided by r minus r dash, magnitude power 3, r minus r dash vector. We can write the value of dq here, so which implies df, the small force, can be written as 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught into q naught into dq. dq means sigma ds divided by r minus r dash, magnitude power 3, r minus r dash vector. So therefore total electrostatic force due to charge q distributed over S is F. We can write the expression in the similar manner as we have done earlier. So it is integration over total surface S. This is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught into q naught into sigma ds. We write as given above. So r minus r dash, magnitude power 3, r vector minus r dash vector. So this is how we represent the total force due to the surface charge distribution on any given test charge q naught. We can take this q naught and sigma divided by 4 pi epsilon naught out of the sign of integration. So this can also be written as F. This is equal to q naught upon 4 pi epsilon naught into sigma into the integration over whole surface of ds upon r minus r dash, magnitude power 3, r minus r dash vector. So that is the second case of surface charge distribution. So actually in all kind of charge distribution, this is the important term here. First we are finding out the charge density, and then we are finding out the charge over any surface area. So for elementary surface area, we are finding out the charge as dq is equal to charge density, surface charge density multiplied by the small surface area ds. So is the case we have done with the linear charge density, and same case we are using for the volume charge distribution. Okay, so I am taking the third case of volume charge distribution. So in volume charge distribution, the charge is distributed over the volume. Suppose that we have some sphere. Or it may be have any arbitrary shape. For simplicity I am taking it to be a sphere whose radius is r, or its volume is v, over which some charge is distributed q. So q is the total positive charge distributed over the whole volume, inside as well as over the surface. Whole volume which is v units. So we proceed in the same manner. First, we define volume charge density. So volume continuous charge distribution is the charge distributed continuously over a volume or in a volume. So volume charge density, it is represented by rho, and it is given by the total charge distributed over 1 unit volume, which we can write as total charge q upon total volume v, over which it is distributed. So this becomes the charge per unit volume, which we call as volume charge density. So units of volume charge density are the quantity here is charge with whose units are coulomb, and in the denominator it is volume whose units are meter cube. So it goes, so therefore the charge for, units for volume charge density becomes coulomb per meter cube. Now this volume may be of any kind of shape. If it is a sphere as we are taking here, for example, then its surface charge density can be written as q upon the volume, total volume of that sphere, so which is 4 by 3 pi r cube, where r is the radius of that cube. So we can write the volume charge density in this manner. Okay, so to find out the net force due to this volume charge distribution on any test charge q naught, as we have taken earlier, whose position vector we are taking as r vector. Then again we make the use of method of integration, for which we take very small elementary volume of this total volume. So this is the elementary portion of the volume. The volume of this elementary portion is, let it be represented as dV, over which some charge will be, which is indicated as dq. So there will be small charge dq over this elementary volume dV, whose position vector we can take as we are taking earlier, as r dash. So the force due to this positive charge dq distributed over volume dV, it will exert the force as we have discussed earlier on this positive charge test charge q naught, which we can represent as dF. So therefore, first thing we have to write the value of charge dq over volume dV. So on 1 unit of volume, what is the charge? It is rho, the volume charge density, which we can also write as q upon v, but leave it to be the volume charge density, into the volume we are having, total volume we are having, dV. So this becomes the charge on volume dV. So therefore, the force dF on the test charge q naught due to this small elementary portion of the volume dV can be written as 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught into the product of charges, which is q naught into dq upon r minus r dash magnitude power 3 into r minus r dash vector. We can write the value of dq from here. So that implies dF becomes equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught into q naught into rho dV divided by r minus r dash power 3 into r minus r dash vector. So if we are willing to find out the total electrostatic force due to whole charge distributed over all the volume V, then total force due to charge Q over volume V is F. We can write it as F. Total force is F, which is given by integration over whole volume V of 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught. We are adding all such forces with the method of integration as we have did earlier. Q naught into rho dV upon, it is r minus r dash magnitude power 3 into r minus r dash vector. So for simplification, we can take some constants outside the sign of integration. So we can write it as F. This is equal to Q naught upon 4 pi epsilon naught into rho, the volume charge density, into integration over complete volume V of, this is dV upon r minus r dash power 3 r minus r dash vector. So this is the third kind of distribution of charge. Okay, so in this class we have taken the continuous distribution of charge. In earlier we had taken the discrete distribution of charge, which is of small quantity. But in this case, whenever charge becomes quite large as in comparison to the charge of a single proton or single electron, in that case we make the use of method of continuous charge distribution, which are of three kinds: linear charge distribution, continuous distribution; second one is the volume charge continuous distribution; and third one is the volume charge distribution. So that is all for now. On the next day I will take some questions on this superposition principle as well as on the continuous charge distribution. Thank you.